Well, good morning again. It's Tom Padula from Insegna Booksellers and TomPadulaTV on YouTube. This is another one of those Italian lessons that come free to everyone. And we must remember the saying, la pratica batte la grammatica, ma senza la grammatica non puoi migliorare o perfezionare la lingua che vuoi imparare. In our case, it's Italian. So to perfect your language, you need to have the grammar. Now, we've gone through quite a bit in the last few lessons. I think it's the 8th one today, or well, thereabouts. And we are tackling at the moment the verb. It's the most important part of the 9 parts of speech. I'm not going to go through them, I should really, but what I love about this is the fact that we're getting to the more interesting part of the language now, the one that will give us the opportunity for per la pratica. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go through the 9 parts of speech again. Noun, article, adjective, pronoun, verb. We're going to do the verb today: adverb, preposition, conjunction, exclamation, and interjection. Now, last time we did, I said that we would go over the verbs, and that's what we're going to do now. The verbs themselves are divided into it's like the army, you know. It's like having the army, the navy, and the air force. There are three types of categories: the are verb, the ere verbs, and the ire verbs. Now, those ones there are the regular ones, because there are also irregular verbs. So the verbs themselves are very important. So there are verbs, ire verbs, and of course ere verbs, second conjugation. So are, first conjugation; ere, second conjugation; ire, third conjugation. And then the ire, it's also got a slight variation within that category. So are, ere, and ire. Now, what we're going to do here, I'm going to go straight into it today because I think we're going to get there. Okay, I was thinking yesterday, what am I going to do? Will I do the auxiliary verbs first, essere and avere? I said, no, I'm going to start explaining the 3 conjugations. Why are they conjugate? And we're going to do today just the present tense. Now, the present tense of the are verbs, the endings of the are verb present tense is o, I, a, iamo, ate, ano. And what you do, you get the verb, like you get a verb and you drop the are. And the same thing happens with ere. And the same thing happens with ire. Except with ire, you got the normal ones. And then there's this one here that causes a bit of trouble with ish, etc. Now, let's go to the first one. And the interesting part about all this is that the present tense of the verbs, of the regular verbs, are always the same. The endings are always the same. Have a look at that. O, I, a, iamo, ate, ana. What have I done? I've dropped the ire and I've added parlare. It means to speak. Okay? So if you have to look up to speak in the dictionary, what you get here is this. Now, I also said that I would start the class at 11:30. So I got straight into it. I don't know why I did it, but I wanted to. I think I'm excited about the fact that I am doing the verbs. And these are, we're going to come back to them. There they are. So this we're going to do today. In this, then we have to go back and do some work on actually putting all this into practice by looking at some of the songs, and we'll also look at the songs in terms of the actual vocabulary involved and the adjectives involved. So from now on, basically, once we start with the verbs, you're going to look at the sentences within a verb, within a song. So that's where we are. Okay, so let's start the lesson. The lesson itself is about the verbs. Now, the verb is a very big, it's a very big area of language, and the verbs generally are transitive. When you've got a subject and you have a verb and then you have an object. Io mangio la mela. Intransitive, when it's the io mi lavo is a reflexive verb, and the intransitive one is like piove. There's no object. So io mangio la mela, piove, lui non è vestito, he's not dressed. That's the one. When there's no object. Lui non è vestito, Maria non è vestita. So there's nothing that happens afterwards. So that's called intransitive. And then io mi lavo, when you've got the reflexive pronouns, io mi lavo, I wash myself, you wash yourself, and that's called reflexive. So there are irregular verbs as well. So don't get too excited about things being very easy in language. Language has a lot of irregularities, and a good practitioner of the language will know those. The auxiliaries are the ones that help the other verbs. There are two of them: to be, essere, and avere. And generally, in the teaching of Italian, they start with these. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the actual verb, the conjugations first, because the verbs themselves are divided into simple tenses and composite tenses. Okay, so I'll just show you something. Here, these are the ones. See, verb ausiliare essere, but then if we go to this and avere, there they are. It's a big list, and this is the first conjugation, lodare. See that? Io lodo. So we're going to do the present tense first, in the imperfect, passato remoto, and future tense. So those are the simple tenses. And these are the composite tenses. Passato prossimo, trapassato prossimo, passato remoto, futuro anteriore. What happens is that the actual titles of these tenses vary from English into Italian, from grammar book to grammar book. Some of them use them in different ways, according to interpretation. So, but let's have a look, because at what I've actually prepared for you. So, I prepared for you the endings. So, these are the endings. For are verbs, o, I, a, iamo, ate, ano. For the ere verbs, o, I, e, iamo, ete, ono. Notice that the same o, are and ere and I, the first and second person, are the same. The third person changes, and then the first person plural is the same, and the second person plural and third person plural change from are to ere, verbs. And then we'll have a look at them. Ere, there are some that have their endings like this, o, I, e, iamo, ite, ono, and some with isc, capisco, capisci, finisco, that sort of a verb. But let's go to the first one, the present tense. Okay. Now, I was looking for verbs to show the present tense of the are verbs. Parlare, cantare, lodare. So, to speak, to sing, to praise. That's what you look up in a dictionary. And you get this io, tu, lui, lei, egli, esso. There are a lot of the third person, the pronouns, the personal pronouns are many. Noi, voi, loro, essi, esse, etc. For example, yeah. So those ones there, first person singular, second person singular, third person singular. First person plural, second person plural, third person plural. And that's the scheme. It's always the same. Io parlo, tu parli, lui, lei, egli parla, noi parliamo, voi parlate, loro parlano. Okay? Cantare, for example, let's go to cantare. Io canto, tu canti, lui, lei canta, noi cantiamo, voi cantate, loro cantano. Let's go to the next one. Lodare, to praise. Io lodo, tu lodi, lui, lei loda. See, what I'm saying is I didn't put the other one, egli, which some grammar books would have egli, the Italian ones especially. In Australia, we use lui and lei for third person to mean he and she. Noi, voi, noi lodiamo, voi lodate, loro lodano. Now, the interesting part is, how do you translate the present tense of are verbs? Most of the people who learn Italian, there's so many variations of this. Well, look at this. We have 3 present tenses in English. Not 1, but 3. They don't have the endings, but look at what happens in English. I speak, you speak, he or she speaks. You've got to put the S there in the third person. We speak, you speak, they speak. Easy, isn't it? I speak English, you speak French, he speaks Chinese, etc. Okay, but you can also say in a continuous sentence, I am speaking in English to you right now. I am speaking. It's a continuous present tense. You don't translate io sono parlante. You translate it as io parlo. So io parlo translates also I am speaking. That's something that you need to understand. The English grammar. The English grammar. And the other one, the third one, is I do speak, you do speak, she does speak, we do speak, you do speak, they do speak. So when do we use I do speak? Well, when you want to be with your nose up in the air, I do speak English. Ooh. You do speak German. Do you speak modern Greek? Does she speak Chinese? So you ask the questions, but also you put an emphasis. I do speak English, or do I speak English? So those are but what happens here with the language, when, for example, a comic wants to have a go at an Italian, the Italian come from Italy, and the first thing that they learn the verb, and you go into they know this one here, they know I speak, you speak, that's the easy one, isn't it? And they say, you go to a shop and say, you speak Italiano? Because in Italian, the question is in the intonation of the word. You speak Italian? Parli italiano? No, non lo parlo. Parli inglese? Etc. But in English we say, do you speak? But you don't translate to do. Otherwise, to do is fare. Fare, parlare, that's the problem with not knowing the verbs. But there are 3 sections of the verbs in English, in the present tense. And that's right across the board. Now, the question I'm going to ask you, did you know this? So I haven't seen it I've seen sections of it, but no one really explains it the way I'm doing it now. There's 3. 1, 2, 3. I could have written a lovely grammar book, maybe, but there are so many grammar books around. All you need to do with books in general and with knowledge, you have to find out exactly what is, how the precision comes in. And that's why, I said I'm going to do the present tense of are verbs, then ere verbs, and then ire verbs. So notice the endings. Io parlo, tu parli, lui, lei parla, noi parliamo, voi parlate, loro parlano, or essi parlano. Esse is used for, feminine things. Esse lodano, essi cantano, loro cantano. Same thing. So, are you speaking to me right now? No, you're not. Are you speaking? So you can use the second one to ask questions as well. But you can't use I speak. Oh, yes, you can. I speak English, but you can't ask a question. I speak English? I can't do that. So, am I speaking in English? Yes. Do you speak English? Yes. Do I speak English? Yes. Am I speaking English? Yes. But not I speak. You cannot use that one for English when you're asking questions. So, as I said, I would make references to our own language, to English, when I'm teaching Italian, because it's important. Now, don't forget, this is not the language. This is about Italian. Okay, so this first part. And maybe now, just to give myself a bit of a break, what I'd like to do, I'd like to break this up. It's very hot in here, so I have to drink. I have to break this up, and I want to go to some of the songs that we've done. Maybe we start right from the beginning, and we'll have a look at some of these verbs. So let's have a look here. Let's have a look. See? I've got all my pages here. The noun article, definite article. Carissimo Pinocchio. See that? See that? Il desiderio, la sera, la lettera, l'amico, la primavera. So you know the words, no? Okay? And then, then you have to find the song. Now, where do I put the song? That's the question. Where did I put the song? So, unless you're organised, you will not find it, Tom. But I am organised, and therefore I will find it very soon. Here, lettera a Pinocchio. There we are. Ok. Ho tanto desiderio questa sera di scrivere una lettera a qualcuno e fra gli amici della primavera al mio più caro amico scriverò. Notice the verb, scrivere, scriverò, future. Carissimo Pinocchio, amico dei giorni più lieti, di tutti i miei segreti che confidavo a te. Carissimo Pinocchio, ricordi quando ero bambino, nel bianco mio lettino ti sfogliai, ti parlai, ti sognai. Dove sei? Ti vorrei veder, del tuo mondo vorrei saper, forse babbo Geppetto è con te. Dove il gatto che ti ingannò, il buon grillo che ti parlò, e la fata turchina dov'è? Carissimo Pinocchio, amico dei giorni più lieti, con tutti i miei segreti resti ancora nel mio cor come allor. What have you noticed in that one? In that one, you've noticed, one, that it gives you a break from the actual grammar. So the actual grammar, because that's what we're doing today. We're doing the grammar. We're doing the verb. And the verb is, we did parlare. So we're going to go to the next one now. The next one is, there we are. And I thought, the next one. Present tense of ere verbs. There they are. Credere, vedere, scrivere. And these are called second conjugation, ere verbs. Okay? So, present tense is io credo, tu credi, lui, lei crede, Noi crediamo, voi credete, loro credono. Notice the endings. Io credo, credi, crede, crediamo, credete, credono. All you have to do there is drop the ERE and add the endings. For io is io credo, for tu credi, lui, lei crede, noi crediamo, voi credete, loro credono. Now you get another one, vedere. I didn't write it down, but vedere. Drop the ERE and you get io vedo, tu vedi, lui, lei vede, noi vediamo, voi vedete, loro vedono. O-N-O. And the other one is scrivere, to write. Io scrivo, tu scrivi, lui, lei scrive, noi scriviamo, voi scrivete, loro scrivono. Okay. So we have that in Italian. And to ask questions, you can do the inflections. Scrivi una lettera a Pinocchio. Scrivi una lettera a Pinocchio. And that's where the second conjugation comes in. Now, in that particular song, there were past tenses there and future tenses, which we haven't done. And it's going to take a few weeks before I get to those, because I have to do the present tense first today. The next week we'll start, maybe we could do, the past and then the future. Maybe I could do the future because that's easy. And then we can do the past because that has more. There are two tenses to the past in the simple format. So you got the imperfect and the past absolute. Those are the two tenses. So you got the present tense, imperfect tense, past absolute, and future tense. Those are the three. But in English, what happens? Io credo is I believe. You believe. He or she believes. You have to add the S at the end of the third. We believe, you believe, they believe. Also, you can say, I am believing. I haven't seen this form very much with the verb, with believe, but I've seen it with other verbs in English. You are believing. He or she is believing. We are believing. You are believing. They are believing. That's the second type of present tense in English. I do believe. You do believe. He or she does believe. We do believe. You do believe. They do believe. So do you believe in religion? Do you believe in democracy? I do believe in being free, etc. So you get this, the do X. You can use this particular form of the present tense to ask questions in English. But in Italian, all you have to say is credi. That means, do you believe? Credo, do I believe? Credo, he or she does believe. Does she believe? But in Italian, crede in Dio, crede nella religione, crede nel football, crede. So in other words, it's the question where the inflection of the voice determines the question in Italian. In English, it doesn't work like that. That do is an emphatic one. I do believe that you should, do what you're told. Okay? I do believe that you should do what you're told. That's a lot of people believe in that. So this is, for example, I believe in humanity. I am believing what you are saying. That's a good one. I found one way of saying, using I am believing. And do you believe in religion? Those are the sort of questions. That's the second conjugation. So that's the ere verbs. Okay? Now, that's good, isn't it? So what we did, that was the present tense. This is the second one. Now, I want to, let me see. I said I want to, una spina e una rosa. Here we are. Una spina, una rosa. The other song that I did, you remember? And also the adjectives there. And I didn't, of course, didn't put the una spina, una rosa there with my notes, but I've got it here. Una spina, una rosa. Here we are. Let's sing it. There you are. Do you have it in front of you? Well, if you haven't, domani è festa, questa notte si va a letto tardi. Resta con me, a quest'ora è un peccato lasciarci. Balliamo ancora, come se fosse la prima volta. Questo amore che deve finire, non può morire stanotte così. Notice there, resta and balliamo. First conjugation verb, restare, ballare. Ai, 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 una gioia, un dolore mi dai, una spina e una rosa. Ai, 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 a ballare di notte con te, quanto è pericoloso. Ma una notte così vale più della vita di un re. Del domani non mi importa niente, voglio morire stanotte con te. Questa canzone è la storia di due innamorati che come noi se si lasciano sono perduti. Balliamo ancora come se fosse la prima volta. Questo amore che deve finire non può morire stanotte così. Notice here, ok? Notice here. A questo balliamo, sì? Balliamo ancora. Questa notte, you can look for the verbs here. And that's one of the activities that you can do with songs. You can look for the words, you can look for the adjectives, you can look for the verbs, for the prepositions, for all the 9 parts of speech, if they are available in this particular song. So notice that this is a good pastime. Not only are you learning the language through the song, but you're also analysing the way the sentences are made up, and on top of that, you're singing. There's a lot in there in the song. Okay, so that's it. Now, let's go back. Let's go back. Now, the actual, I've written them down, but you can get something like this, nicely set out. But I prefer this because some of the textbooks here, they don't offer all the everything that I'm presenting to you now. They don't offer it at all. So some of them do, but not all of them, and definitely not the explanation with English. Okay, so now we got to the third conjugation. Present tense of ire verbs. Present tense of ire. There are 2 sections to the ire verbs categories. There's the ones that act quite normally, and then there's the other one that acts differently, like capire. So I'll do the 2 of them. In Italy, they actually say there's first conjugation, second conjugation, third conjugation, and fourth conjugation. But in the English-speaking world, when I came to Australia, they eliminated that fourth conjugation. That verb like capire were regarded in Italy as a fourth conjugation. Whereas because it's not, the irregularities only occur in certain parts of the tense, then they decided, the professors and teachers in universities, they said, now we're going to call it, and, third conjugation, it's simple. They simplify it. So here we go. Present tense of ire verbs. Verbs like sentire, to hear. also to feel, sento qualcosa dentro. It's, that sentire is to hear, but to feel. Dormire, to sleep. Servire, to serve. So let's see how these are in the present tense. Io sento, tu senti, lui, lei sente, noi sentiamo, voi sentite, loro sentono. So it's pretty easy, really, when you think about doing Italian verbs and how easy they really are in their structure. Io sento, io parlo, io credo. They're all the same with an O. Tu senti, tu credi, tu parli. Io and tu, easy. The one that causes problems is the third one. Because you say lui canta, but lei crede, and here, lui, lei sente. So not senti, but sente. It's like the second conjugation verb, this third one. Noi sentiamo, voi sentite, that's different. Noi sentiamo, noi crediamo, noi parliamo, but voi parlate, voi credete, voi sentite. Notice the difference in the plural there. So you got to watch out. Depending on the verb, you use them accordingly. You use the endings accordingly. And this last one is a bit like the third one because it says, third singular one, because it says, for example, loro parlano, loro credono, loro sentono. Second and third conjugation, same ending. So there you are. That's the way. That's the third conjugation, the regular one. Then I'll show you the other one, the next one, after our next song. Okay. How do you translate sentire in English? I hear, you hear, he or she hears. We hear, you hear, and they hear. Not to be confused with H-E-R-E. Hear, qua. I hear. But I am hearing. You are hearing. He or she is hearing. We are hearing. You are hearing. They are hearing. You have to find a use for those. I do hear. You do hear. He or she does hear. We do hear. You do hear. They do hear. You get the gist now. There are three present tenses in English. A simple one, a continuous one, and an emphatic one. Here you are. I hear those words, those sounds. You are hearing birds in the bush? Or are you hearing birds in the bush? But if it's a statement, you are hearing birds in the bush. I'm telling you that you are hearing birds in the bush. So in other words, you can, that's a statement. But if you asking the question, are you hearing birds in the bush? And do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear Carlos speak? Talking about Antonio. Ciao, Antonio. Thank you for coming on. I hope this is interesting for you. But as I said, in previous lessons, these lessons have to be repeated, to be reviewed by you often by doing your Italian practice. Listening to television or radio, watching a movie, singing a song, talking to people. You need to come back to this occasionally, to the grammar. So becoming, being able to refer back is important. So that's dormire. That's the first type of dormire. Now, I think I'll show you the second one because that's why you get the changes straight away. Now, the second one, this is finire. Notice there, finire, capire, inserire. Okay? Finire, you drop the IRE, but the ending is isco. Hold on. Let me talk. There we are. Because that way I can underline the isc, the ending. I didn't do it last time. Okay, so here we go. Notice, io finisco, tu finisci, lui, lei finisce, lui, lei finisce, noi finiamo, voi finite, loro finiscono. So that's the third conjugation, and it's an IRE verb. So there are two categories to the IREs. Some of the verbs conjugate, that's the word, conjugate differently in the present tense, as some of them conjugate differently in the other tenses as well. But again, in English, I finish, you finish, he or she does, finishes, not as finish. You got to put ES in English. You can't just put an S. We finish, you finish, they finish. I am finishing, you are finishing, he or she is finishing, we are finishing, you are finishing, they are finishing. I do finish, you do finish, he does finish, we do finish, you do finish, they do finish. Notice he or she does, you got to add the E. You just can't put the S in English. So those are the present tenses in the three conjugations in Italian and also in English. In English is across the board. The English doesn't distinguish between first conjugation, second conjugation, third conjugation. It's all the same. So a verb in English behaves in this way. So in English we don't have, what don't we have? The conjugation. Because they conjugate the same. All verbs. So what's the difference between Latinic languages and English languages? This is one of the big one. The big one is the structure of the verb. The verb doesn't have the conjugation. Whereas when you're learning French, you're learning Spanish, you learn Portuguese or Romanian, those are there. Now, I know of French for sure. I've seen the Spanish, the Portuguese I've got to look at, and the Romanian. So some of the other languages then we're talking about, because I said I would make reference about this grammar to other languages, they don't have the conjugations. So is it better to have the conjugations or not to have them? But the English then makes up for it by having a distinction by having three present tenses, three types of present tenses. So there you are. Okay? Present tense in English, there are three forms of the present tense. The normal, I speak, I believe, I hear, I understand. The continuous form, I'm speaking, you are believing, I am hearing, I am understanding. I went from one to the other. The emphatic form, or the one the emphatic is used for questions. I do speak, I do believe, I do hear, I do understand. Do you understand? See, that's the question there. So that's important to remember that. And basically, that's it. Those are the verbs that I've shown you. Those are the three conjugations. Once you have those under you, once you have these three conjugations in your brain, are, ere, and ire verbs, and you conjugate them, they are the same all the time. And if you get grammar books or you get verb books in Italian or in French or in Spanish, they all got those. They all have them. Doesn't matter which course you do. The reality is, in order to learn a language and to perfect it, you need to remain interested and enthusiastic about it. Because that's the problem, is that, for example, when I started this here, there were a few more people tuning in. Now, the people, because it's under Christmas, etc., but I don't stop. I can't stop, because I said I would introduce the elements of grammar slowly through it. So by the time I finish, you'll have the Italian language grammatically. You'll be able to access the grammar through my programs. You can repeat them as many times as you like, because they do deliver to you the Italian language. And there I got another one here, where I got another. Let me have a look. Here we go. in via dei Ciclamini. No, in via dei Ciclamini I've got, I think it's here somewhere. In via dei Ciclamini al 123. That's what it is. I have to find them. Sometimes, it takes a long time to actually get organised. Even, language learning is a bit like that. And I'm doing, in a way, I'm doing this on purpose because it makes you realise that even when you're teaching or you're learning, there are things you miss out on. And what you do there is that well, I can't find it. Can't find it. Oh, well, doesn't matter. We can do another one. In via dei Ciclamini goes. Because from then on, then Dio come ti amo. We did that. So you can almost, remember the songs we did. Fiorin fiorello, Fiorin fiorello, la vita è bella da te. But Fiorin fiorello, il cuore è uno zingaro. I've got here, il cuore è uno zingaro, see? I've got this one here. There we are. This is, avevo una ferita in fondo al cuore, soffrivo, le dissi non è niente ma mentivo, piangevo. This is a good one when we do the imperfect tense. When you get soffrivo, piangevo. Per te si è fatto tardi, è già notte, non mi tenere, lasciami giù. Mi disse non guardarmi negli occhi e mi lascia cantando così. Che colpa ne ho se il cuore è uno zingaro e va, catene non ha, il cuore è uno zingaro e va, finché troverà il prato più verde che c'è, raccoglierà le stelle su di te e si fermerà, chissà, e si fermerà. L'ho vista dopo un anno l'altra sera, rideva, mi strinse, lo sapeva che il mio cuore batteva, mi disse stiamo insieme stasera, che voglia di risponderle sì, ma senza mai guardarla negli occhi, io la lasciai cantando così. Notice here, l'ho vista, sì? E rideva, sì? Batteva, sapeva. That's all imperfect tenses. But mi strinse is a past absolute. And it's an intransitive verb. Mi strinse. It's a transitive verb. She hugged me. Che voglia di risponderle sì, rispondere. Notice the le. Those are the pronouns, like to her, di risponderle, replying to her. Ecco, che colpa ne ho se il cuore è uno zingaro e va, catene non ha, il cuore è uno zingaro e va, finché troverà il prato più verde che c'è, raccoglierà le stelle su di sé e si fermerà, chissà, e si fermerà. So, il cuore è uno zingaro, by Nicola di Bari. And Nicola di Bari sings in Spanish as well. A lot of the Italian singers sing in Spanish. See, these are the verbs we did last week. Avevo, soffrivo, mi disse. To give you an idea of the various tenses. So those are the tenses. I'm going to have a look at last week because I think we did. Where am I? No, that's not the one. Yes, is it the one? Canta Pierrot, amore, the verb conjugation. Here we are. Just a little bit of a reminder. Here we are. The verb, third or fourth conjugations. Are, ere, ire. And the ire I showed you, dormire and capire. Two of them. So if you get just this today, and it sort of remains impressed in your mind, it's a very important thing to remember. And then these are the 7 moods, the indicative mood. So that's present reality. And this indicative mood has got 8 tenses, 4 simple ones, 4 composite ones. The conditional, that's another mood. It's like another room. You've got conditions, then we do the syntax, when we do the study of the actual writing in terms of how people write, the conditional. So you've got to recognize a conditional sentence. Well, the conditional verb's got the present tense and the perfect tense, just one. But the subjunctive, which is hypothetical ones, has got the present and imperfect, and then the perfect tense and the pluperfect. In other words, it's got 4 tenses, the subjunctive. The imperative has only got 1 in the present. And then there are 2 forms of the gerund, 2 forms of the participle, and 2 forms of the infinitive. So for example, to be, I'll have to look it up. Infinitive. The infinitive present tense is important because that's the one you find in the dictionary. Now, the tenses. Here they are. Now, the tenses are according to the way I learned them here in Melbourne, at Melbourne University. Professor McCormick, he sort of, but I knew them in Italy as passato remoto, trapassato remoto, passato futuro anteriore, etc. So they change. So, but the 4 simple tenses are present, imperfect, past absolute, and future. And the 4 compound tenses are perfect, pluperfect, past anterior, and future perfect. So in other words, what happens here is that you need the auxiliary to be or to have plus the verb, and you form the composite tense. And the composite tense looks like this. Looks like that. Io ho lodato. See that? Passato prossimo. Trapassato prossimo. Io avevo lodato. Trapassato remoto. Io ebbi lodato. And futuro anteriore. Io avrò lodato. So that's how it is. With the congiuntivo, because it doesn't matter that you're not learning today, I'm just showing you. Congiuntivo, see, modo congiuntivo. You've got the present tense. You've got to put the che in front. And you got the passato. Imperfect tense, trapassato. The conditional's only got 1, present tense, and it's got 1 composite tense. There it is. You avrei lodato, etc. You got to learn that. The present, in the imperativo, there's no present tense. You can't command yourself, but you can command someone else indirectly to a third person, directly to us, directly to you, plural, and indirectly to them, third. And then modo infinito, lodare, passato is aver lodato. Okay? So basically that's it. Modo participio, the participle, lodante, lodato, and the gerund, lodando, avendo lodato. So that's basically it. That's the page. Now, how long is it going to take for you to... Those ones there, the ones I've shown you, I learned them when I was in grade 4, grade 5 in Italy. They drummed them into you. And that's how you can learn your Italian by then referring to the grammar. But la pratica is the practice that's important. So, i tempi, in Italian i tempi, presente, imperfetto, passato remoto, futuro, passato prossimo, trapassato prossimo, trapassato remoto, futuro anteriore. And so those are the ones. Now, have I got anything else here? No. So, adverbs of manner, this is another section. The pronouns. I have to come back to the pronouns because I have to add some more. But the one that's important, reflexive, this one here, myself, yourself, himself, herself, oneself, ourselves, yourself, themselves, because you use that with the reflexive verb. Io mi lavo, tu ti lavi, etc. You wash, I wash myself, you wash yourself, he or she washes herself. So these are used in the reflexive of the verb. So pretty boring, isn't it? It is boring. I mean, honestly, no wonder people would fall asleep in classes. But once you get the explanation, though, and you actually become familiar with all this, you can then read the paper. You can read books. For example, for now, let's do something that we haven't done for a little while, okay? Do you remember, for example, the days of the week? Lunedì, martedì, mercoledì, giovedì, venerdì, sabato, domenica. Do you remember the months of the year? Gennaio, febbraio, marzo, aprile, maggio, giugno, luglio, agosto, settembre, ottobre, novembre, dicembre. Now, I know Italian well. Someone who does Italian at a higher level, they say this is boring. But I am, through this, I am also trying to say to people that if you want to improve your written language, you need to write these things down so that you get the spelling right. The spelling is important. Hi, Angela, you come on too. So the spelling of words is important. So writing the numbers, 1, 2, 3, up to 50 that we've done so far. Write them, get a piece of paper and just write the numbers and check out at the end whether you got them right. Days of the week, months of the year, seasons, they need to be written up, practiced. Also, when you're reading, for example, you're doing a song, well, you don't have to get it typed. You can just write it down. You get a book and write the song down. For example, today I have new songs, which I didn't do like last time. I'm going to do them now because I just want to do them now just to show you something else. And also for me. Non ti scordar di me is an old song and it's sung by tenors generally. Partirono le rondini dal mio paese freddo senza sole cercando primavere di viole nidi d'amore e di felicità la mia piccola rondine partì senza lasciarmi un bacio senza un addio partì. That's a beautiful stanza, beautiful. Non ti scordar di me, la vita mia legate a te. Io t'amo sempre più, nel sogno mio rimani tu. Non ti scordar di me, la vita mia legate a te. C'è sempre un nido nel mio cuor per te. Non ti scordar di me. quite a few tenors have sung this one here. Non ti scorderai. That's, if you've got a voice, this the first part is difficult, because when you say partirono le rondini dal mio paese. So when you can't do that, because the ritornello, this is the ritornello here, that one there is easy, non ti scordarti, but the other one is difficult. When it's like that, you can just read it out. Okay? So that was one. This is La Domenica andando alla messa. I think we've done this before, but, you know, let's sing it together again. La domenica andando alla messa, accompagnata dai miei amatori, mi sorpresero i miei genitori, monachella mi fecero andar, oi sì, oi no. Monachella mi fecero andar. Dimmi che mami, sono innocente come il sol che risplende sul mare. Voglio dare un addio all'amor, oi sì, oi no. Voglio dare un addio all'amor. Giovanotti, piangete, piangete, han tagliato i miei biondi capelli. Tu lo sai, eran ricci, eran belli. Giovanotti, piangete con me, oi sì, oi no. Giovanotti, piangete con me. Dimmi che mami, sono innocente come il sol che risplende sul mare. Voglio dare un addio all'amor, oi sì, oi no. Voglio dare un addio all'amor, oi sì, oi no. Voglio dare un addio all'amor. Now, notice there that this one here, Gigliola Cinquetti, if you go to YouTube and you get the Gigliola Cinquetti songs, they're actually beautiful. She's got such a beautiful voice, and you can sing along. Some of them have actually got the words as well. Some of the songs that are, you know, they're pretty old, but some of them, they all have a very good story, all of them, really. The Italian songs, it's quite a discovery. So enjoy yourself with it, and you can use these for the learning of your language. You can improve your Italian by singing. If you are outside of in the world, people of Italian background in the world number over 60 million. It's a lot of people, and a lot of them don't speak Italian. Or, well, of course, they live in another country. How can they? Here we are. We got something else now. Yeah, that's another one we've done before. Mamma, son tanto felice perché ritorno da te. La mia canzone ti dice che è il più bel sogno per me. Mamma, son tanto felice viver lontano perché. Mamma, solo per te la mia canzone vola. Mamma, sarai con me, tu non sarai più sola. Quanto ti voglio bene, queste parole d'amore che ti sospira il mio cuore, forse non s'usano più. Mamma, ma la canzone mia più bella sei tu la vita, e per la vita non ti lascio mai più. Sento la mano tua stanca, cerca i miei riccioli d'or, sento e la voce ti manca, la ninna nanna d'allora, oggi la testa tua bianca, io voglio stringere al cuor, mamma. La mamma, parararararararara, quanto ti voglio bene. And we're going to finish there. Now, what can we do with these songs? The fact is, if you don't have the words, or get yourself an exercise book, you can copy them. If you've got a printer, print them out, or you can write them in your own handwriting. Beautiful exercise to actually write the song in your own handwriting, because that will reinforce for you the idea that you have to look at the words more closely. So writing and copying is an important activity, even for children, even though now they will all do very fast, type it on a computer. No, you have to learn how to write by hand. It's like learning how to start a fire. Let's say, if you are away away, and there's no gas, no electricity, and you need to cook, what do? You have to learn how to do this. You haven't got matches. You have to learn how to do things. And, some of the answers we have in modern life doesn't help us when we're in trouble. Because everything's so easy. Now, I'm going to do another one. I've got some here. These ones I have them organised well. See, I've got here a few songs and I'll show you what I've done. What I've done here, La vita è bella, see that? I've got the words, and then you can put the English, il mondo, what's that? The world, l'uomo, the man, gli affari. It's you keep going. You leave out the ones you don't know. Then verbs in La vita è bella, verbs. And then I've actually, we could have gone into there and say, okay, what about the articles? Well, the articles are there, the prepositions. What about the conjunctions? You write the conjunctions in La vita è bella. Write the prepositions. Write the pronouns you find. So as we go along, think along these lines. The adjectives. La vita è bella. Libero sono e giocondo. Giro e girando per mondo. Rido dell'uomo d'affari, del re di denari che conta i milioni. Have a look at that. Libero, giocondo are adjectives. E is a conjunction. Sono is I am. Sono, libero sono, I am. So that's the auxiliary verb. We haven't done it yet. We'll be doing it the next 4 or 5 weeks. Easy. Actually, next week, because I did the first 3 conjugations. Then I will do the auxiliary verbs next week, and I'll explain them in English as well. The present tense. Vivo, and then giro e girando. Giro is a verb. Girando is the gerund. E is a conjunction. Per is a preposition. Mondo is a word. Rido dell'uomo. Dell'uomo is a preposition with di plus the article. D'affari, di again. Del, preposition. Di, preposition. The denari che conta i milioni. Che in this case here is a pronoun. Because di denari, instead of repeating I denari, che conta i milioni. Del re di denari che conta who. See that che, re di denari who. So rather than repeat it again, you say who. So that's a preposition. I is an article. Vivo i miei giorni felici, sfuggo le donne ed amici. Io senza amor non mi lagno, il migliore compagno è soltanto il mio cuor. Vivo, ok? Verb, i miei giorni. I miei are adjectives. Felici, adjective, etc. Now it's 12:30 and I have to stop. Look, you know, this learning of Italian requires a commitment. And as I said, if people come to me and want to personalize it, I'm quite willing to help out. I'm here at Insegna Booksellers every day. It's my second home, literally. And I am surrounded by books. So that's one, that I can help very directly with that. Two, I'm also doing a lot of work online and YouTube, Facebook, everything, Instagram, whatever. You can look me up and you can look up these particular lessons, and they are numbered. So you can revise them, start from the beginning, have your exercise book, etc. Then on Thursdays I do world history, and this coming Thursday I'll be doing India, the Indus Valley. And on Sunday I have Dante Alighieri reading of Dante Alighieri, and I'll be doing Canto 15 of the Inferno. So things are progressing. I don't expect people to follow me always when I do these things, but are you interested? Then come and revise, check up what you know against the lessons that I give. Do lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, and go on with it. I'll be continuing these lessons, bringing in new elements all the time, and old ones. I can't, because la pratica, and today I didn't, for example, I didn't do some of the songs like I did last week. I didn't do, so that practice is important, but I have to keep going with the grammar. Okay, on that note, thank you for coming on, Antonio and Angela. Been good to have you along. Well, until next Tuesday for the next lesson. Ciao a tutti da TomPadulaTV on YouTube, and Insegna Booksellers, also insegna.com. Look me up. Ciao, until next time.